So we're going to go ahead and start, and we will trust Julie to catch up when she arrives. So we're still in this process of going through the different stages that make up the anatomy of trust, according to Brene Brown. And so this week, I've been thinking a lot about reliability, and it seems that for me, reliability is like a big one that really triggers so much anger in my relationships when there is a lack of consistency, whether it's on my part or the other part. It's very interesting. And listening to Brown talk about it, it's like what comes up with reliability is really that you have to know your own limitations. You can't be like an airline that just sells out over more seats than you actually have available for passengers. You have to really know how much you can extend yourself. And I think that's an interesting thing, especially when we're thinking about trust. Good morning, Laura. Because I think the tendency for a lot of us, myself included, can be to want to be a helper, to want to step up and serve and be as, kind and caring and compassionate as we can for all the people in our lives. However, if we're not always aware of our limitations, we can end up dropping the ball on certain commitments that we've made, whether they're big or small. And as Brown talks about, these are the small things that add in marbles to our jars that help us feel that we can trust another, or help another feel that they can trust us, or more importantly, help us feel that we can trust ourselves. So in our practice today, we're going to work on a few things. We're going to work on really trying to stay with our breath. That's our focus every week, but this week we're going to focus on the breath. We're looking at the psoas for a few poses, and we're looking at some back bends overall. And as we're working with back bends, which are heart openers, this can be another tendency where we want to be like, yes, I can do all of it. But we want to be mindful of where we might need to pull back, rein in just a little bit in order to maintain a sense of integrity, which was last week's word, with what our own limitations are. So to that end, we're going to start by lying down on our bellies in crocodile pose. Before you come into crocodile pose, please make sure you've got 2 blocks and a blanket available today. And as we're all making our way there, Laura, how's your body today? A-okay, awesome. Okay, and so we'll lay down on our abdomen, and I want you to stack your hands underneath your elbows. So we're going to walk our hands in a little closer than we normally would. So our hands are underneath our elbows. And the first thing I want you to do is, once you find yourself on your abdomen, notice if you want to have your big toes touching and your heels splayed wide apart, or notice if you want to walk your feet wider than your hips and let the toes point out and the heels sort of turn in. And then once you've gotten here, I want you to see if you need to fidget around just a little bit in order to feel a little bit more comfortable or stable in this pose. And one of the first things that we're going to do now that we're here is I want you to just notice any of the thoughts that are up in your mind. So part of our anchoring, part of what allows us to be reliable is a sense of grounding, a sense of consistency and stability. So you'll just notice what's alive and alert for you right now. And once you've noticed or checked in with your thoughts, I want you to once again check in with your physical body. Where do you feel the floor beneath you? What are you noticing in terms of the hips touching the floor, the feet touching the floor? What do you feel in terms of the elbows, maybe even the shoulders, your neck, and your forehead? And once you have a general idea of those big landmarks of the body, I want you to notice where the breath is in the body. Where is it located? And once you start to notice that, notice its texture, notice its pace, and notice its rhythm. And as you're continuing to start to ground yourself, anchor yourself, really connect with that breath. And I want you to start to fill the breath into the ribs, the upper chest. And then as you continue to just be here, you'll subsequently breathe into the ribs, into the chest, maybe start to push into the abdomen a little bit. And as you take these next 3 breaths, you'll still breathe into the ribs, into the chest, into the abdomen, maybe even into the pelvis. And as you're doing this, you're paying attention to the boundaries. So the abdomen is pushing down into the floor, but what space is that creating in the low back? The ribs are pushing down into the floor, but what is that creating in the upper chest, shoulder blade region, and the back body? So the more that we start to pay attention to our limitations, we become reliable not only to others, but most importantly to ourselves, because we know where we are and where we end. So as you take these last 3 breath cycles here, I want you to see if you can continue to expand and deepen your breath. Good morning, Julie. I can see you. And at the end of your 3rd exhalation, you'll gently lift your head away from your hands, bring your hands alongside your torso, and press yourself up to hands and knees. Now, once we've gotten here, we're going to go directly to toe squat. So if you need to pad your knees, by all means, pad your knees. Walk your feet together, tuck both sets of toes under, and then bring your spine up to vertical. And once you've gotten to toe squat, you're going to do whatever feels good to you for your shoulders. So some of you will take some shoulder circles. Some of you will try Garudasana and do the shoulder flossing going up and down. Some of you will do Ardha Gomukhasana, where you'll just take one arm up behind you. But we've got about 10 steady breath cycles here. So I encourage you to just notice what each one of these, or whichever one you've selected, really feels like. You're noticing what the limits are of your own body. You're noticing where your breath is and how you're sensing yourself. We've got about 2 more breath cycles here. So if there's something else that you haven't done that you want to try exploring, please do that. And once you feel complete here at the end of this next exhalation, you will come forward onto hands and knees. You'll extend the tops of your feet to the floor, pitter-patter those toes if you'd like, and then shift back if you want to stretch the fronts of the knees, ankles, and shins. Great. Awesome. When you feel complete with that, we'll make our way forward to hands and knees again. Before we go any further, please place both blocks to the upper outer corners of your mat. If your knees happen to be sensitive, this might be a great time to place that blanket in the middle of your space. And then we're going to try to connect breath to movement. So once you're on hands and knees, separate the hands shoulder distance apart. Inhale, gaze forward between the gates of your arms, lift the tail, lift the crown, and exhale, curl the toes under, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Great. Inhale, come forward, 5 counts, baby cow shape. And exhale, press back to down dog, 5 counts. And then you'll inhale and again come forward 5 counts, tabletop cow shape. And then exhale, downward dog, 6 counts. And then you'll inhale and come forward 6 counts, hands and knees, little baby cows. And exhale, downward facing dog, 7 counts. And then you'll repeat that 7 counts forward, little cows. And then you'll exhale back to downward facing dog, 8 counts. And you'll repeat that 2 more times on your own, just the 8 count inhalation and 8 count exhalation. And what we're trying to do is just make a steady connection to our breath. It can become very easy to miss our breath and to become disconnected, disjointed from it, because it's not as apparent to anybody but us. So as we're filling our own marble jar, we're trying to become reliable and reliant to ourselves. So this next time you end up in downward facing dog, you'll stay there and you might slowly pedal through 1 leg, and then the other. But again, we're trying to stay with that 8 count inhalation, that 8 count exhalation. Awesome. Let's go ahead and inhale, bend both knees, come down to hands and knees. I want everyone to grab wide on their mat. So you're actually going to hold onto your mat. Curl both sets of toes under. Take a big breath in, and then exhale, push your butt up and back, downward facing dog. Pull your mat wide and forward and away from you as you reach your heels down and back. And you're lifting up through the inner armpits. You're pulling the mat wide. You're pushing the mat forward. You're pushing the feet forward. And then as you're ready, you'll inhale, come down, hands and knees. Replace hands, normal orientation, and then exhale, make your way back to downward facing dog. Okay, so we're going to do 3 sets of these. Each one has 3 breath counts. We want to stay with 3 counts of 8 or 8 count breaths for each breath cycle. So take a big breath in. As you exhale, step your right foot forward between your hands. Press down through your fingertips, lift up through your back inner thigh, and reach your heart and sternum forward, low lunge. Hug that outer right hip in. Reach your sternum forward even more, and everyone push down into your right heel a lot, like you're trying to stamp your foot into the floor. Great. As you exhale, plant the palms and step back, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, left knee to nose, step your left foot between your hands. Push down into both feet. Lift that inner right thigh and hug your outer left hip back. Now reach your heart and sternum forward, lifting the chest, making the fingertips light. The end of your next exhalation, you'll plant the palms and step your left foot back. Great. Inhale here. Exhale, right knee to nose. Carefully step the right foot to the floor. Push down into the front foot. Press back through the inner left thigh and reach your heart forward. Make your fingertips light. You might choose to stay here or sweep your hands back alongside your hips, palms face down. Push down into your front heel. Draw your outer right hip back, lift your heart 1 more millimeter. Yep. Exhale, plant the palms, step back, downward facing dog. Big breath in. Exhale, left knee to nose. Carefully step the foot to the floor. Push down into the feet. Make the fingertips light. Draw the outer left hip back and lift your heart forward and up. Stay there or sweep your hands back, palms face down. Hug the shoulder blades onto your back and push down into that left heel. Take a breath in and exhale, lower the hands, step back, downward facing dog. 3rd set. Take a big breath in. Exhale, right knee to nose. Carefully step the right foot to the floor. Push down into your feet, hug the outer right hip back, lift the heart, make the fingertips light. Option to stay here, option to sweep the hands back, hug the shoulder blades together. Option to stay here, option to push into the feet and bring the spine to vertical. Option to stay here, hug that outer right hip back or reach both arms up and overhead. Take a big breath in. Exhale, plant the palms, step back, downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, left knee to nose. Carefully step the foot between the hands. Push down into the feet, make the fingertips light as you reach the heart forward. Option to stay here or sweep the arms back. Hug the shoulder blades together, heart lifts. Option to stay here or push through the feet and bring the spine to vertical. Option to stay here or sweep the arms up and overhead. Push down into your left foot, hug that right foot in. Nice job. Exhale, plant the palms, step back, downward facing dog. Great job. Take a big breath in here. Exhale all the breath from your belly and step to the top of your mat. Great. When you get to the top of your space, make sure your feet are hip distance apart. And then you'll inhale, pull the heart forward and away from your hips. And exhale, fold all the way in. You've got 2 more of those. Now, as you inhale and reach the ribs away from the pubic bone, find length on the front body. And as you exhale, scoop the belly, draw the chin towards the neck, the chest towards the thighs. Awesome. Last time. Inhale, bend the knees as much as you need to draw the spine parallel-ish to the floor. Yep. And then exhale, fold in. Great. Keep your fingertips on the floor. Inhale, bend the knees, reach the spine forward. Exhale, scoop the belly, push down into your heels. Inhale here. Exhale, scoop the belly away from the thighs. Inhale, bring the spine to vertical, hands either to heart center or up and overhead. Everyone lean back so there's more weight in your heels as your knees stay bent. And you're going to see if you can bend your knees just a little bit more so we can feel our quads engage. Those with the arms up and overhead, reach out through the pinky fingers. And you're seeing how low you can sit in chair for these last 2 to 3 breath cycles here. Press into the big toe mound, spread wide through the pinky toe, and keep the weight back into your heels. Nice job. Next inhalation, stand up, reach up, look up. And as you exhale, arms open out, palms face forward, hug the shoulder blades onto your back. Take a moment to settle the gaze or close the eyes and see if you can breathe into the collarbones, into the ribs, and notice the groundedness of the feet. Great. Let's add on. Inhale, circle sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus the elbows, hinge at your hips, forward fold. Great. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your right leg long and back. Spin your right foot to the floor for warrior 1. Push down into your feet and make your fingertips light. Inhale, lift your spine up and away from your thigh. Exhale, sweep your arms back alongside your hips, and then squeeze the legs, bring the spine up to vertical. Great. So now we've got options here. As you're here in Dirba 1, I want everyone to bend into that left knee a lot. Push down into your left heel until you feel your left glute engage. Now for this first set, we'll inhale, straighten the front leg, reaching the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, you'll cactus the elbows and bend the knee and return to warrior 1. So inhale, the arms reach out and they come up. And exhale, bend the elbows, bend the knee. Awesome. And you got 2 more. Inhale, straightening everything. And exhale, bending the knees, bending the elbows, squeezing shoulder blades onto your back. Last one. Inhale, reaching up. And this time as you exhale, we'll stay here with the warrior 1 legs. Now from here, go ahead and reach the arms out and interlace the hands at the low back. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears and draw the shoulder blades onto your back body. And everyone, I want you to lean your shoulders forward about 1 millimeter, not a lot. And then breathe into the collarbones. And at the top of the inhalation, hold the breath for 1 to 2 counts. And then exhale, just draw the belly in. Roberta, lift your head just an inch. There you go. And so you're going to breathe here just into the collarbones, seeing if you can isolate, concentrate the breath into the ribs. We're doing what my teacher calls a kapha reducing practice. So kapha is like the phlegm, the mucus, the things that can come up, and especially at this time of year, cause us to have a little ugh. So we're focusing on that by breathing into the chest and exhaling from the abdomen. The next time you inhale, straighten your front leg. As you exhale, bring your hands to your hips like a toddler having a temper tantrum. Straighten both legs and start to turn your torso towards the right leg. Torso to the right leg. Yep. So keep the left leg as it is. If you need to wiggle walk the back foot back, so your right foot back, you can do that. Keep your right foot on, or rather right hand on your right hip. Lift your left arm up and overhead, little teapots. And as you exhale, reach forward, out and down to come into Utthita Trikonasana. So maybe the left hand comes to the block, a shin, or a floor. Everyone, I want you to first push down into your legs again and find stability there. Then push down into your left hand and lift up through the left rib cage. Yep, and see if you can wrap the left ribs under the right ribs on top. Reach back through your right hand, turn the palm to face the sky, and then inhale, rainbow the arm up and over your head. And then exhale, reverse that motion. So the hand sweeps back, retracing its pattern. Now, as you take this 3 more times, I want you to see if you can almost take like a cat-like position with your hand as the right hand comes up and overhead. So it's like you're taking a side cat and you're stretching those ribs. And then it's like you're almost trying to take a side cow as you're reaching the arm back. Sounds really weird, but you're bowing the ribs up towards the sky and down towards the floor. And it almost feels like you're tractioning out the spine. Great. The next time that right arm is up and overhead, let's pause there and breathe. Reach out through your right fingertips, press down through your right foot, push down into your left foot, and then see if you can wrap your right ribs on top a little bit more by drawing the left ribs under. Nice work. Next in breath, take your gaze down to the floor, square your hips to the floor, and then step to the top of your space. Take a moment to pause here, both feet hip distance apart, head hangs, and just notice what you notice between your right leg and your left leg. Great. And then we'll go ahead and try that on the other side. Inhale, sternum and heart lifts forward, halfway lift. And then exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, step your left leg long and back. Make sure it's slightly to the left, spin the foot down, and then pause for warrior 1. Push down into the feet, make the fingertips light, reach the heart and sternum forward. Sweep the hands back so the palms face forward. Squeeze the legs together, bring the spine up to vertical. And then we want to continue to bend into that front knee, that right knee, as you push like crazy onto your left pinky toes. Now this time we're going to take our arms forward. So you'll inhale, keeping the front knee bend, reaching the arms up, bend overhead. And then exhale, straightening the front leg and lowering the arms alongside your hips. So we've changed the breath and we've changed the movement of the arms. And I just want you to observe and notice what this is doing to your psoas. So the more that you can keep drawing your front ribs back, even as you come forward, you might start to feel this fun stretch that goes along the inside edge of your left inner thigh and all the way up to the low ribs, depending upon what your psoas is doing. And so even as you come forward, you want to think of drawing the front ribs back. So instead of going into a back bend here, we're like restricting it just a little bit by closing the drawer of our front ribs. Awesome. And then the next time you come forward into that warrior 1, we'll stay. And this time we'll exhale and the arms will open out to the right and to the left. Take the awkward opposite interlace behind you. And then again, let's shift our shoulders forward about 1 millimeter, but keep our throat, our heart, our head open. And then you'll inhale into the collarbones, into the ribs, suspending the breath up there. And then exhale, emptying the belly and noticing the breath move up. Yep, and we'll continue to bend into our front knee as much as we can. So keep bending into that right knee until you can push your right heel straight down into the floor to feel your right glute come online. Nice job, guys. 1 more breath. Laura, lift your heart just a little bit. Yeah, there you go. At the end of your next exhalation, go ahead and straighten your front leg long, bring the spine up to vertical. Bring your hands to the hips and then turn your rib cage towards the left. If you need to wiggle walk your feet so they're longer apart from front to back, by all means, please do that. Keep your left hand on your hip, reach your right arm up and overhead. And then start to reach forward, out, and down, keeping your right side as long as it can be before you bring those right fingertips to the shin, block, or floor. Nice job, Erica. Okay, and then now once we're here, everyone start to press down into both feet. See if you can traction your right ribs forward a little bit to wrap your right ribs under and then your left ribs on top. Yeah, there you go, Roberta. And then reach back through your left hand, turn the palm to face up. Yep, there you go. And then like you're taking cats and cows here, inhale, sweep that arm up and overhead, round through the left side of your ribs. There you go, Sandy. And then exhale, sweep the arm back. And you'll do 3 more of those. So you're really trying to see how much you can round the left side. I know that sounds really super weird, but you'll get more of a stretch on the latissimus dorsi of that moving arm side by doing that. And it's still trying to stay on the lateral plane. So the chest doesn't turn down to the floor necessarily. We're just trying to see how much lateral side body movement we can get in the ribs. Yeah, guys, good job. Okay, the next time that left hand comes up and overhead, you'll stay there, palm faces down. Yep, reach out through your pinky fingers. And then see if you can push down through the right hand, wrap your right ribs under your left ribs on top. There you go, Jenny. And then just pause and breathe. Nice stability in the legs, Barbara. Nice job, guys. Next inhalation, turn your gaze down to the floor. Square your hips to the floor, step back, downward facing dog. Awesome. Take a moment to breathe here. And then we'll go ahead and inhale, come forward to plank pose, fallen kasana. Now I want you to press down through both hands, make sure hands are shoulder distance apart. Lift up through your happy inner armpits and inner thighs. Now let's roll to the knife edge of our left foot, or roll our heels to the left. Keep pushing into both hands for just a moment, and then you'll slowly peel your right hand up towards the sky for this weird variation of side plank. Yep. As you're ready, lower that right hand to the mat, come back to plank, lift up through the armpits, roll the heels towards the right. And then push down into that left hand, lift the under right hip before you slowly peel the left arm up. Nice job, guys. Awesome sauce. When you're ready, you'll lower that hand back down to the floor. You'll come back to plank, and then you'll bend your knees and go back to downward facing dog. Great. 3 breaths, and you'll just notice what you notice here. How stable is your breath? Are you still breathing at maybe 6 or 7 counts for that inhale, the exhale? Is it 8 counts? Barbara, draw your chin to your chest just a little. There you go. And then push your hands down and forward just a smidge. Yeah. All right, let's add on. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. Square your hips as best as you can. Yep. And then exhale, knee to nose, pause. Slowly lower that foot to the floor. Great. Spin your back foot to the floor for warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Make sure it's a long stance, and then inhale, come up for warrior 2. Nice work. Now, just as we did before, let's see if we can have a pretty long stance from front to back in our legs. And then see if we can bend into that right knee quite a bit, pushing down into your right heel until you feel your right butt cheeks start to come online. Now bring your left hand to your left hip. And like we're doing Hamilton, inhale, reach up through your right arm. Reach up, bend into that front knee until you feel your front heel push straight down. Awesome sauce. Now, next in breath, reach up through that right arm even more. As you exhale, reach forward, out, and down, bringing your fingertips to the floor or block outside of your front leg. Outside of your front leg. Start to shift your weight forward. Lift your back leg off the floor, parallel to the floor for half moon. So you'll have to walk your right hand forward. Yep. Everyone flex through that back foot a lot. Now, this is going to sound super weird, but I want everyone to lengthen your tailbone back to that inner left thigh, squeeze your left heel, and lift your left leg as high as you can. As high as you can. Hello, medial glutes. Lift that left leg as high as you can. Yep, keep curling tailbone towards that heel. Some of you will reach that left arm up. Some of you will keep it on your hip. Nice and stable, guys. Good job. Very gently, you'll bend the front knee, step that leg long and back, come back to warrior two, Virba Hadrasana 2. Nice transition, guys. As you exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the mat, pause, step back, plank pose. Pause, 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 pause. Spin both heels towards the left. Step your right leg this time behind you. You might bend that right knee and put the foot on the floor, going for a half wild thing position. And then you'll either take that side plank or you'll take that wild thing. Nice job. The end of your next exhalation, the right hand comes back to the floor. So not so far, Julie. Spin your heels to the right, come to regular side plank on the other side. This is just to engage the core on this side. So no fanciness, just a regular side plank. Good job, guys. As you're ready, exhale, lower the left hand, step back, downward facing dog, step back, press back, downward facing dog. If you need to rest in child's pose for a moment, by all means do that, but we're going to try that on the other side. Good job, guys. All right, moving on. Inhale, lift your left leg up and back. As you exhale, left knee to nose and pause. Slowly lower that foot to the floor. Yeah. Spin the back foot to the floor, long stance, and then inhale, come up for Virba Hadrasana 2, warrior 2. And once we become vertical again, see if you need to adjust your stance. I know we're going to half moon, so that's a sneaky trick on my part to tell you to take a wide stance and then say, oh, no, you don't need to. But we're just working on our ability to reliably know how we can get there. So bending into that front knee, go ahead and bring your right hand to your right hip, reach up through your left arm, Hamilton style, and see if you can continue to reach up through that top arm as you bend into that front leg and find more of an elongation along your left side body. Yeah, nice job, guys. On your next in-breath, reach forward, out and down. Bring your left hand outside of your left foot to block or floor. Walk the hand forward, bend the knee more, shift the weight forward, lift the right leg parallel to the floor. I like that, Sandy. Lego blocks construction. And then we're going to flex that back foot a lot. And I want you to squeeze your top glute to lift that top leg as much as you can. And everyone curl your tailbone back to that inner right thigh, scoop the belly in. Erica, see if you can rotate your ribs to the right a little bit more. Yep. Yep. And then maybe you might float the top hand up. Nice, Jenny. Jenny, let the left ribs come under for you just a little. Yeah. I know that's hard with baby underneath you, but you're doing good. And as you're ready, you'll bend the front knee, confidently step back, warrior 2. Nice, Laura. Nice, Julie. Nice, Barbara. Awesome. And then let's exhale, cartwheel the hands back down to the floor. Pause, step back to plank pose, fallen Kasana. Now we're going to roll our heels over to the right. You might bend that top knee and step the left foot behind you as you reach your left arm alongside your ears, maybe up and overhead for a wild thing variation. Nice job. And then very gently, you'll lower that left hand back down to the floor, come through plank fallen Kasana. Roll the heels over to the left, stacking them this time, pushing down through the bottom hand, lifting up through the top arm, plank pose. Exhale, lower that right hand to the floor. I know this is mean, I'm sorry. We're gonna lower our knees to the mat. And you're gonna give me 4 push-ups here, but I want you to lower your chest, your thighs, and your pelvis all at the same rate. Your ears stay away from the floor. So you're gonna go all the way to the floor, and then you're gonna come back up. Yay! So chest, belly, thighs all touch at the same time and all lift away from the floor at the same time. It helps sometimes to keep your back toes curled under and to see if you can squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back. Nice, Barbara. Nice, Julie. Julie, push into your left thumb for me more, please. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it's harder, but it's more control. Okay. And then after you've done this last one, you're just going to lower down on your abdomen. I know we haven't done push-ups in a while. I'm sorry. And once you're on your abdomen, let's slide our hands back so they're alongside our lowest ribs. Separate your feet so they're about hip distance apart. Press into the tops of your feet. Energize your legs. So hands are next to our rib cage. There we go. And then I want you to push down through the hands, pull the heart and sternum forward, lengthen the tailbone back, and come up for your baby cobra. Yep. And then you'll exhale and lower down. And you'll do that 2 more times. So you inhale, pull the hands isometrically back to pull the sternum forward, lengthen the tailbone back, lengthen the toes back, and then exhale, lower down. And as you come up this 3rd time, see if you can keep that chin in line. So you're not lifting the chin too high, but the back of your neck, yeah, there you go, Julie. Back of neck and front of the neck stay the same length. Yeah, good job. And then exhale, lower down. All right, let's go ahead and bend your right knee. Reach around and grab the outside edge of your right foot with your right hand. And I want you to bend, or rather flex and point that right foot as much as you want to. You might internally or externally rotate that right leg. You're trying to find a stretch across the belly of your right thigh. Some of you will have to lift the right thigh away from the floor. Some of you will just draw your heel closer to your pelvis. Some of you will kick it away, but you're trying to find a gentle stretch across the front of your right thigh. Okay, and then you'll gently release that, and we'll try that on the other side. So you'll bend your left knee, grab the left foot with your left hand, and you either flex the foot or point the foot. Slightly internally rotate the leg or externally rotate the leg. Keep the thigh on the floor or lift the thigh up. But you're paying attention to where you feel a gentle stretch across the belly of your left thigh. And then you'll gently release that. Last thing before we get up off the bellies. Everyone reach your hands back so they're alongside your pelvis. Turn your palms to face the floor. Hug the shoulder blades onto your back. Now, as you inhale, lengthen the tailbone back and the toes back so far that they float up and away from the floor. Well, your tailbone won't. And then you'll hug the shoulder blades onto the back. You'll reach your sternum forward. You'll reach your crown forward. And you'll see if you can lengthen your legs and feet away from each other, reaching both of these away from the floor. And some of you will reach and hover your arms off the floor, hugging the shoulder blades onto the back. Some of you will keep the fingertips on the floor, but you're trying to find expansion across the front of the body. Awesome. And then you'll exhale and lower all the way down. Great. Let's go ahead and plant our hands alongside our ribs. Curl the toes under and come up to hands and knees. Awesome. At this point, I highly encourage you to pad your knees with a blanket, but you do whatever the heck you want to do. And I encourage you to have your blocks towards the upper outer corners of your mat, because this will be helpful. And once you're on hands and knees, blankets underneath your knees, we'll put blocks underneath our hands. Great. Step your right foot between your hands, and we want to find a 90-degree angle. So look back at your legs and make sure you got 2 90-degree angles going on in both of your legs. Highly encouraged to tuck your back toes under. So left toes under. Awesome. Then start to turn your blocks up to the highest setting and walk the blocks back so they're alongside your hips region. Great. So bring your right hand to your front low ribs. Right hand to front low ribs. I want you to pull your front low ribs back. And I want you to scoop your tailbone straight down to the floor and under. With your left toes tucked under, you're going to push into your left toes. You're going to push into your right heel and suck those points together. Keep holding your front ribs back, and you might reach your left arm up and overhead. So we're trying to find the psoas connection from the front ribs all the way down into our leg. And the only way to have that happen is you push down into the legs, you pull your front ribs in, you lengthen the tailbone down. And then once you have got all that going on, see if you can lift the collarbones and the chest and the heart as you reach up through that left arm. Awesome. All right, some of you will stay right here, happy as a clam. Some of you will lower that left arm down, sweep the left hand back, bend the back knee, grab that left foot with your left hand. And you'll either flex or point that foot. And again, your tailbone is dropping down. You're hugging. Now it's your back knee and your front foot. You're hugging them together to find a different stretch happening on the front of that left thigh. Awesome sauce. You'll gently release that back foot if you're holding it. Hands will come to the blocks. You'll shift your weight forward and maybe walk your right foot forward just a little bit. Now again, push into your front foot, push into your back knee, suck those points together. I'm pushing back a lot through my left big toe. So make sure you're pushing back through your left big toe and then interlace your thumbs or lock your thumbs, reach them forward and up, pull the front ribs back and reach up as much as you want to through the fingertips. Now, as you draw the front ribs back, you might lift the collarbones, you might lift the chest, but your action is tailbone down, front ribs back, left foot active, right foot active. Maybe gaze starts to lift through the gates of your arms. And we're trying to find some stability first. Nice job. Next exhalation, arms start to reach forward, come back down to the blocks, and then step your right foot back, and we'll step our left foot forward. Okay, so first things first, make sure you tuck your back toes under. Make sure you got 2 90-degree angles happening in your knees. So that left foot probably has to come back more than we would think. And then you'll start to walk the blocks back so they're alongside your hips, just in case if, when you bend the knee, you want to have a hand on a block instead. So then we're going to push down through our points of contact, front foot, back knee, back foot, hug those points together. Left hand comes to front ribs, pull them back, tailbone drops down. You might sweep your right arm up and overhead, and it might not get all the way vertical. Sometimes it feels like mine wants to go more at 120 degrees versus 180. So you're just seeing where you are, trying to keep the front ribs in, tailbone lengthened down. And then once you've got that going on, you might be able to lift the collarbones and lift the gaze. But it's more important to draw the front ribs back like you're closing a drawer and then tailbone down. Awesome. And some of you will stay right there, happy as a clam. Some of you will lower that right hand down. Left hand might come to that block alongside your left hip, and you'll grab your back foot with your right hand. And then Erica, see if you can rotate your right shoulder forward just a smidge. Yep, so you remain square to the top of your space. Nice work, guys. Okay, very gently, you'll release that back foot if you've got it. Hands will come to the blocks most likely. You'll shift your weight forward. You'll walk your left foot forward. Keep your back toes curled under a lot, pushing that big toe mound down. Take awkward opposite interlace of your thumbs. Push down into your left foot. Push down into your right knee, right big toe, reaching the arms forward and up. Now you're pushing down so much into your left heel that you feel your left glute. You're drawing your front ribs back. You're reaching up through the arms, tailbone curls down, and sometimes it feels like it comes forward just a little bit. And then maybe you can lift the chest a bit. Nice job. Next exhale, come forward, hands come to the blocks. Go ahead and step your left foot back. And then we're going to come to downward facing dog. And I want you to just see how downward facing dog feels here. Can you still push down and forward through the index fingers, the thumbs? Can you root down through the knuckle pads of the hands while keeping the heels of the hands light? Can you keep the inner armpits lifting up and away from the floor as your triceps wrap down towards the floor? And then can you see if you can find space along the ribs? So the ribs reach away from the shoulders, and then the waist reaches away from the ribs, and the hips lift away from the waist. Nice job. All right, so let's go ahead and inhale and come back to plank pose. Hooray. So we did the first one with push-ups with our knees down. You've got 3 this time. If the legs stay straight, your thighs, your chest, your belly, all of that touches at the same rate and your head stays away from the floor. Nice control. Nice control. And then after your third one, you'll lower all the way down. I know, we haven't done that in a while. Great. And then once you find yourself on your belly, let's go ahead and reach our hands back so our palms are alongside our hips. Turn your palms to face the floor. Separate your feet hip distance apart. Energize your legs. Draw the shoulders onto the back. Lengthen your sternum forward to lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. Great. Lengthen your tailbone back. Reach your toes so far back that they float up and away from the floor. And then inhale, see if you can lift your chest and see if you can lift your arms and see if you can lift your legs. Locust pose, Shalabhasana. And then you'll exhale and lower down. And you'll do that 2 more times on your own. So notice for you if it feels better to lift the legs first or the chest first, or if all of them want to lift up and away from the floor at the same time. Whichever one you choose, though, we want to stay with that sense of groundedness, of rootedness, of reliability and consistency with us. It's an unwavering sense of connection to ourselves that is the most important. Nice job. After your third one, we'll lower down. We'll bend both of our knees and we'll reach around and we'll grab the outside edges of our ankles with our hands. Now, key thing here, I want your legs to be more active than your chest. So if your chest gets 1 millimeter off the floor, happy days. If it goes more than that, yay. If it doesn't, who cares? But your legs have to be super active. So I want you to flex or Barbie point your toes. Lengthen your tailbone back a lot. Then you'll draw the shoulder blades onto your back body and lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. And then you can kick back and lift as much away from the floor as you want, or as little as you want, but we're lengthening the tailbone back. We're keeping that long. We're keeping the heart and sternum reaching in opposition to the tail. And then as you're ready, you'll gently lower down. Gently lower down. Awesome sauce. Release your feet. Nice, Julie. And then bring your hands alongside your ribs. Come up through hands and knees or table or plank and make your way back to downward facing dog. And you'll just take 3 breath cycles here. And I want you to again check in. How is the body here? Can you keep hugging those front ribs in and back so the front body stays as long as the back body? Can you keep wrapping the triceps to the floor so your inner armpits, there you go, Sandy, are happy and bright? Awesome sauce. All right, let's go ahead and inhale and come down to hands and knees. And you're going to sit and watch, and then you're going to do. You're going to sit and watch, and then you're going to do. So we're going to do wild think proper, but the thing that often inhibits a lot of us from getting into wild thing is we don't change our hand. And if we change our hand, it'll make everything a lot easier. So if my hands start off like this in plank, before I go to the side for wild thing, I have to externally rotate the hand. That will enable me to then eventually walk over if I want to walk over to get into a wheel pose. But if I don't change the hand, it's gonna impinge my shoulder. I feel like all of you have done this before, so maybe I don't actually have to demo this. Do I need to demo this? I got some nods, okay. All right, so I'm gonna demo it from this angle so you can see. So with my left hand, I'm gonna turn my left hand out, so now my left thumb is pointing forward. I still roll to my left heel. My top foot, my right foot is gonna come to the floor behind me. All that push-up action, I'm gonna push down to be able to rotate around my rib cage, and then I can reach my other arm up and overhead. And then to come out, you just come back the way you did, but you have to replant the hand. Okay, can we try? Do we have questions? All right, I don't know what to do with any of that. You're all just looking at me. And if you're like, Jessica, I don't want to do any of that, just do a side plank. And if you don't want to do any of that, you can watch everybody else do it, or nobody do it, but you can do that too. Okay. So if you are going to try it, you'll come to hands and knees and you'll make your way to plank. And I'll just cue one side just so I make sure we're all together. So turn your right thumb forward, right fingertips out towards the right. Roll to your right, or roll your heels to the right. Bend your top knee, your left knee, and put the foot on the floor behind you. Push down into your feet, push down through that bottom arm and reach the top arm up and overhead. Tailbone lengthens down to that right leg, a crap ton. Nice job, guys. When you're ready to come out, you might need to bend the knees, come back through plank, reposition the right hand. Now, if you'd like, you'll try the other side. So you'll turn your left thumb forward. Your heels will roll to the left. You'll stack your hips and start to step that right foot behind you. There you go, Roberta. Push down into the bottom hand, push down through both feet, lift up. Nice job, guys. When you're ready, you'll gently come out. You'll come back to plank, and then you'll lower your knees down. That wasn't too bad, right? We haven't done that in a long, long time, and we did it. I got some smiles and some like, what the heck was that? Okay, well, we're about to do another one. Okay, so I want you to make sure, we're not going to do that again, but we're doing something else we haven't done in a while. I want you to make sure both of your blocks are towards the upper outer corners of your space. And I want you to make sure your blanket is somewhere to the right or to the left of you, okay? And so, especially my people that said that they were having low back stuff, we're going to take pigeon, which we haven't done pigeon in a really long time. But we did a lot of things to start to stretch the front of the body so that we can take a more happy, upright, alert pigeon versus a sleeping pigeon. So let's make, do I need to demo this or do we think we can? No, got it. Okay, so we're going to go to downward facing dog. Make your way to downward facing dog. And if you're not doing pigeon, you can always do this on your back. Same actions will apply. Let's go ahead and lift our right leg up and back. Square your hips and then exhale right knee to nose. Pause here. Slowly lower your right shin to the floor so your right toes are angling back towards your left knee. Now everyone curl your back toes under, so keep them curled under. You might want to bring your hands to your blocks at this point. And with your back toes curled under, push down into your front shin, push down into your back knee, your back toes, hug those points together. Lengthen your tailbone down and see if you can scoop your pubic bone and belly button up. So this is just like what we were doing in Asana. And then you might walk the hands back even more to draw the shoulder blades onto the back to lift the heart up. And what we're looking for is if you really push into your left big toe, it sounds super weird, but especially those that sit in a desk all day long, I'm finding this hurts a lot. Your adductor muscle gets really tight. So if you push back through that toe, you might feel a stretch that goes on the inner thigh and up through the chest. Oh yeah, I got some head nods, so that's working. And then notice if you're not breathing over there. I see some of you are like grimacing your face. And so see if you can breathe in and out. And you're still pushing into that front shin bone. And if you're happy as a clam, noticing these sensations, by all means, happy to stay here. Otherwise, you might start to walk your hands forward and take more of a resting pigeon pose. But if you're enjoying the sensations that are coming here, you just stay here. Some of you that are staying here, you might turn your gaze over your front knee, and it gives you a different sensation on the front inside edge of that back psoas. The just gentle rotation of the rib cage to the right gives a fun little sensation there. Awesome sauce. And then we'll just make sure we're breathing. Jenny, drop your shoulders. I know it's intense, but you're doing it. And then we'll gently start to make our way out of this. So you've got 2 breath cycles here, and you'll slowly make your way back to downward facing dog. And when you get back to down dog, you'll just notice what that feels like. I like the little rotation personally. It gives me a different access point to those muscles. But that's a personal preference. And then after you've taken 1 to 2 breath cycles in down dog, you'll go ahead and try the other side. So you'll inhale and lift your left leg up. Exhale, knee to nose, and then carefully, quietly, slowly step that foot to the mat, drawing the left foot towards your right hip. Keep your right toes tucked under a lot. And then you're pushing down into your front shin, you're pushing down into your back knee, your back toes, and you're hugging those points together. It just squares and solidifies the pelvis a bit. And then you want to lengthen your tailbone down, scoop the pubic bone, belly button up, and then walk the hands back. And as the hands come back, this is like really an extreme back bend here. So we want to see if we can soften the shoulders, heart comes forward. And then some of you might like to draw the front ribs back a little bit more and then gaze over your left knee. And that's a fun sensation, especially as you keep drawing those front ribs back, tailbone lengthens down. Some of you might choose to sleep your pigeon by walking your arms, elbows, hands, things forward. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing how that's feeling. And you've just got about 2 to 3 more breath cycles here. Awesome sauce. And then we'll gently make our way out of this and come back to downward facing dog. Do, 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 do. And then from down dog, you'll lower your knees to the mat and sit on your shins. We'll do a real quick check-in. How are our necks feeling? I have a pose in here that I might cut for time depending upon how our necks are feeling. Do we want the neck thing or do we not want the neck thing? Thumbs up if you want the neck thing. Okay. So we're going to do a twist. So I want you to sit on your shin bones like we're going side saddle. Take your blanket over to your left hip. And then you're going to bring your left hip onto that blanket. So literally, we're very prim and proper and we've just become English. And you're going to take your right hand, palm faces the floor, and tuck it underneath your left thigh. Then your left hand will come back behind you. Push down into both of your hands, lift up through your spine, and rotate your ribs towards the left. You might choose to stay here. You might walk that left hand back just a bit so your rib cage stays open, prim and proper. Turn your left thumb to the floor and maybe bring the back of your left hand to touch your right butt cheek. Maybe you grab your right hip or your pant leg. Maybe you grab your right arm. But you're going to sit up super tall. Keep rotating your ribs to the left, but look over your front shoulder like someone suddenly called your name. Great. You can choose to stay there or dip your right ear towards your right shoulder like a cherub is kissing your cheek. And we'll find a fun stretch happening across the left side of the neck from the ear down to the left shoulder. Make both shoulders as heavy as they can be. And notice if you need to adjust the position of your head just a little bit to find that nice fun stretch happening on the left side of the neck. And take one more breath here. And you'll gently turn your gaze over the right shoulder again. Lift your head so it's parallel to the floor. Unwind your head looking over your heart. Unwind your left hand. Release your right hand. Plant both hands on top of their respective knees. And just pause here for a moment to let the spine and the internal organs unwind. And then we'll try the other side. So sit on both heels. Take your blanket / side saddle over to your right side. Bring your butt onto your blanket. And then you'll curl your left hand underneath your right thigh. Your right hand will come back behind your pelvis. Push down through your limbs, your arms lift up through the spine, and then start to wrap your ribs towards the right. You might just stay here. You might walk the right hand away from the pelvis to find more broadness through the collarbones. You might keep your right thumb facing the floor and bring the back of your right hand to touch your left pelvis butt cheek area. You might grab your left leg, pant leg, hip thing, or you might grab your left arm. Wherever you are, you'll continue to rotate the rib cage to the right, and then you might stay here softening the shoulders away from the ears or turn your gaze over your front shoulder. And then maybe you'll stay there, or maybe you'll dip your right ear towards your, left ear towards your left shoulder to find a fun stretch happening along the right side of your neck. And the right side and the left side can be very different, so make sure both shoulders are dropping away from the ears. Make sure you're breathing as deeply and consistently as you can. We've got one more breath cycle here. And then when you're ready to come out of it, your gaze will go back over your left shoulder. You'll lift your head so it's parallel to the floor, or rather chin is parallel to the floor. Unwind your head back to the right. Release the right arm. Release the left hand. Plant both hands on the respective knees and pause. Awesome sauce. All right, last little thing. This one's for you, Roberta. Let's go ahead and extend our legs in front of us. Well, I'm sure Sandy and Erica will have fun with this too, but this was your request from last week. So extend your legs forward, and I want you to flex through your feet, hug your legs and shins together, and we're going to bring our hands alongside our hips. So we're still in that royal court. We're very proper today. Okay, and I want you to sit super tall on your sit bones and super tall through your spine, and our legs are super active and super flex. Now, suddenly we're Mr. Burns, so I want you to slump over. We got that extreme kyphosis in the chest. Push down through your hands, slide your buttocks flesh forward, so you'll slide back, actually, your butt goes forward until you've got this little roundedness in the abdomen. Now you'll start to lean back as you reach your arms forward, and you want to keep your legs super active, and you might just stay here, bringing more weight onto your sacrum, reaching those arms forward. We're trying to find our abdominal muscles without finding our hip flexors. So Roberta, go back even more if you can. Hug those front ribs back. Yep. Some of you will hover your legs off the floor. Some of you will not. Yep. And then you'll reach the heels down to the floor, reach the hands forward, come up to sit. We'll try that one more time. Did we find our abs? I got some, yeah, okay, great. We're gonna do that again. Okay, so last little time. Flex through the feet, hug the ankles, that's a new word. Knees, ankles, and shins together, keeping that all active. Hands alongside your hips, sitting super tall and proud first, and then crestfallen. And we want to keep that because that keeps the front of the torso or the front of the core engaged. Push down, slide your buttocks flesh forward. So you'll lean back even more, and then you'll see how far you can lean back as you reach your arms forward. And the more of your weight can come into your sacrum, you might be able to come into this Ardha Navasana, maybe hovering the legs off the floor, keep rounding the front ribs in and back. In, back, in and back, in and back. Nice job. And then slowly you'll lower all the way to the floor. All the way to the floor. Love that, Jenny. She just plops down. She's like, I'm done. Good job. And then when you make your way onto your back, I probably should have had you put clothes on first because we're winding down, but you'll just take a moment to stay there. See how the body's feeling. Okay. And then we'll bend our knees and plant our feet on the floor. Open the arms out to the right and to the left. If you're covering your body up, you can continue to do that. But we'll take a Garudasana twist, and we'll start by going to the right first. So push down through your feet, lift your hips up, and move your butt over towards the right. Over to the right, yep. And then you'll cross your right leg on top of the left. That seems weird. And then you'll take your legs over towards the left. Oh, there we go. Okay. And some of you might push down into the back of your head, lift up your left shoulder, slide it more to the left so that you can rotate your rib cage more to the right. But you'll just pause and you'll breathe and you'll see how that feels. And you just got 2 or 3 more breath cycles here. And then at the end of your next breath cycle, you'll gently inhale and come back up through center. You'll uncross the legs and just take a moment to settle in center. Hips in line with shoulders, heels in line with hips. And then when you're ready, you'll try it to the other side. So you'll push through the feet, you'll lift the hips up and to the left, you'll put the butt back down. You'll cross the left leg over, and you'll take both legs to the right. I notice that when I do this on one side versus the other, I get this weird, like pinchy, stretchy sensation happening on the under butt side around my TFL. It just feels kind of nice. And then you might push into the back of your head, lift your right shoulder up, slide it to the right so that more of your left shoulder can come to the floor. And you'll just pause and you'll breathe. And the end of your next exhalation, you'll take a big inhale and you'll come back up through center. Unwind the legs, plant the feet on the floor. Okay. Now from here, let's go ahead and draw our right knee into our chest for half happy baby. Let the left knee just open out to the left. And you'll just pause and you'll breathe here. Right foot reaching up, right knee drawing down, left knee just opening out. Left arm can open out to the left if it wants, if that helps create stability. Great. Next in breath, bring the left foot to the floor, cross the right ankle on top of the left thigh, thread your hands through the hole and come for Sukhi Randrasana, figure 4. And maybe you're grabbing the back of the thigh, maybe you're grabbing the front of the shin, but that right leg is super active. You're pushing out through the heel. You're drawing your right knee away from your torso, even as you pull the left thigh shin thing closer to you. So, okay. Great. Take one more breath cycle here. See if you can soften any tension in the shoulders and the neck and the mouth and the chest. And then you'll gently release the hands, bring the left foot to the floor, bring the right foot to the floor. Take a moment to pause and see what you see between the sides. And then we'll try that on the other side. So left knee will come for half happy baby, right leg will just open out towards the right. Maybe right arm goes out to the right as well. And you're just breathing across your pelvis. You're breathing into the hips. Keep that left knee super bent, letting it open out towards the left side of the torso. There you go. You've got one more breath cycle here. On your next in-breath, you'll bring the right foot to the floor, cross the left ankle on top of the right thigh, thread your hands through the hole of the legs, and either grab the back of the thigh or the front of the shin. Left leg super, super, super active. Yep. And you're pushing that outer left ankle into the top of the right thigh. You're drawing the legs closer to you while you keep your butt rooted. And that left leg is drawing away from your torso, even though you're pulling the right thigh closer to you. And then notice if there's any unnecessary tension around the shoulders, the neck. Yeah. Got 1 to 2 more breath cycles here. And then we'll gently release the hands. You can come straight next to drawing both knees into the chest. Bring your hands to the inside edges of your thighs. Grab the outside edges of your feet. Press the soles of the feet together first. Notice how that makes your butt really heavy. Keep that heavy and then maybe open both knees to the outer side of your torso, both feet up towards the floor for Ananda Balasana, proper happy baby. Some of you will stay here with the knees bent. Some of you may choose to open the legs and straighten them long. Some of you will rock and roll a little bit. Some of you will do none of the above. You do whatever feels best to you. It might feel nice to just open the legs and be still. It might feel nice to move a little bit. You just see what allows you to feel connected. What allows you to feel like you can trust in you. And then once you're done exploring that, I encourage you to make your way to your final resting pose. So if there's anything else that you feel like you need to do to feel complete, by all means, go ahead and do that. If you're ready to go to your final resting pose, by all means, do that. And when you start to make your way to your final resting pose, more than any other day, I will encourage you to make sure you're comfortable. So you wrap the body if you're cold, you have blankets, You have props. One of the ways that we can most consistently and reliably show up for ourselves is really taking the time to attend to our own needs. You know, we were learning this week about checklists and how checklists apparently in the medical profession help save so many lives, you know. And so I've been thinking about this and like, how can we create little checklists for ourselves so that we can reliably and consistently show up for ourselves and make sure we're supported in the ways that we need to be so that we can reliably and consistently show up for others. And so that's what our Shavasana is. So you're allowing yourself to set yourselves up really well. And you'll take the first few moments in the pose to check in, see how the body is responding to the support beneath it. Does the right side and the left side feel even, or do you need to fidget around in order to let that happen? And once you feel like you've found that stability in the body, I want you to take a scan of the body and notice how you can let it become a little heavier. So we'll start with just making the bones of the body about 5 pounds heavier. And after you've made each of the 200 plus bones of the body heavier, I want you to then take another scan of your body and see if you can soften the musculature that's around those bones. So the bones became heavier, and now how can the muscles become softer? The image I like to play with is like a piece of silk on a hanger. How can you let the muscles be like that silk scarf just draping over the stability, the solidness, the groundedness of the bones? And as you continue to allow the support of the body, the bones of the body to just rest into the floor, and as you continue to soften, to melt the muscles of the body around that support, can you just observe what's happening in the breath? And you'll be here with you for a few more minutes, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Gently return your awareness to your breath. And as you come back, just take a moment to check in. If there's any part of you that's longing to linger in this shape, by all means, please stay here as long as you'd like. When you are ready to move on, you'll gently allow movement to re-enter your physical form in whatever way feels good to you. As you're ready, you'll make your way to your right side and you'll just pause there for 2 or 3 breath cycles before you sit up. When you are ready, you'll roll your chest more to the floor, press into your left hand to free the bottom hand and bring your spine to a tall vertical position. And I encourage you, when you're vertical, to take the opportunity to sit well. So we're going to end today with a few rounds of Brahmari breath. And so again, you're going to close the trachea of your ear with your thumb. You just lightly push the thumb into the ear. The other 4 fingers can either rest on top of your eyes. Sometimes it feels good to have them on top of your head, but you'll do this with both hands. And this basically is a humming breath. So you'll take a big breath in, and then as you exhale, you close your ears and you hum out. And let the exhale, the hum, be as loud as it needs to be. And you'll do this 6 times. After you've done that, you'll just allow the hands to settle and allow yourself to be quiet. So I'm giving you the instructions up front because if you have earbuds in, you need to take them out. So when you're ready, you'll sit up tall, you'll take a big breath in, and then you'll exhale, close your ears, cover the eyes, and start to hum. And as best as you can, just notice what you notice as you sit with yourself. Brahmari breath is said to be really good for reducing stress, anxiety, anger. It's supposed to also help with improving memory, concentration, blood pressure, heart issues. So just take 2 to 3 more breath cycles being here with you. Noticing that in this moment, you've added marbles to your own jars, reliably just showing up breath by breath, shape by shape. We'll go ahead and complete our practice with a collective breath followed by a collective Om. Go ahead and bring the hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of the thumbs into your sternum and lift your heart towards your thumbs. Soften your chin towards your throat and exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible exhale. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. To that light, to that sound, and to that breath we bow. Namaste.